Remember that Grand Theft Auto mission that had you jack a forklift, smash into a bank, and then steal a bunch of ATMs, then load them into the back of your buddy's SUV? No? Well, that's probably because it wasn't a Grand Theft Auto mission. It happened in real life.
This was all enclosed, the front of the bank, so you can see where this forklift bulldozed through. Seattle police tell us when they arrived this morning, they saw 3 to 4 suspects at this forklift trying to load the ATM into a car.
And it seems with every passing year, the real world starts to look more and more like the world of Grand Theft Auto. In many ways, the series has acted almost more like prophecy than a piece of entertainment. Think about it. When all hell breaks loose inside of GTA, you'll see pedestrians run for their lives only to reset a few seconds later as if nothing ever happened. Kind of reminds you of the way shocking incidents play out in America today. The media will cover what happens in depth for a single day. We'll all throw out our thoughts and prayers, and then everyone seemingly moves on with their lives. And when you take a step back and look at this evolution from a sociological and philosophical standpoint, it gets kind of dark. To be frank, it might even seem a little bit more like GTA is predicting America's future instead of merely satirizing it. Characters in Grand Theft Auto carry a certain desensitization to the world around them. Not only do NPCs move on with their lives after a car smashes into somebody right next to them, but main characters reflect the normalization of violence in their dialogue as well. The protagonists frequently crack a joke whenever you hit somebody with a vehicle.
I hope you had health insurance. Man, sorry about that.
Ryder openly drags CJ for how many cars he's wrecked in GTA San Andreas.
Say, CJ, you gonna crash the car again?
And in more nuanced examples, characters like Nico Bellic struggle with the prevalence of chaos no matter where in the world they go.
God is very complicated. You mustn't give up hope.
Well, I don't know about that.
But desensitization isn't about a lack of caring. Instead, it's the brain adapting to a certain level of chaos so that we can function on a day-to-day basis without feeling like we're in a constant state of shell shock. So if we pretend for a second that the world of Grand Theft Auto is a living, breathing, real place, it would be safe to assume that these characters weren't always so comfortable with the insanity that's constantly unfolding around them, and instead establish this comfortability over time as a coping mechanism. In a similar fashion, if Americans became crushingly devastated every time something really bad happened at an elementary school or college, they would spend quite a few days out of the year feeling crushingly devastated. And this change has been directly reflected in the news media as well, when you consider the prolonged coverage and notoriety these events used to carry with them, but today they truly live and die within the 24-hour news cycle. Before we go any further, we obviously want to acknowledge the fact that GTA was created to satirize American culture from the beginning. That said, what started off as a bit of an over-exaggeration of American absurdities has quickly grown closer to American life in and of itself. If you don't believe me, take a look at the reveal trailer for GTA 6. Where past Grand Theft Auto trailers have reflected the ridiculous nature of the in-game world, the GTA 6 trailer pulls real-world images from real-world news stories. Granted, all of these insane occurrences take place within Florida, which has always been a bit off its rocker, but the point stands. So is American desensitization growing due to an actual increase in chaotic incidents as a whole, or does it stem directly from the globalization of social media and, if it bleeds, it leads news stories? Or is it both? Yes and no and sort of. On one hand, violent crimes have statistically decreased as a whole since the 1990s, but isolated events that might take place at a school or a crowded public place have increased, and these events receive much more media coverage than your one-off muggings, for example. And while those one-off incidents might not be occurring nearly as much as they did 20 to 30 years ago, when they do occur, they're much more likely to be captured on video and spread across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. This taps directly into what's called mean world syndrome, which was coined by George Gerbner, who explained, the more television people watch, the more likely they are to believe that the world is a mean and dangerous place. So the more these incidents occur, the more we see them spread across the internet and onto our cell phones, and the more desensitized we become to them to save ourselves from feeling remorseful every single time it happens. Want more proof of mean world syndrome shaping the way America functions? Let's look at shoplifting. Throughout 2022 and 2023, dozens of viral videos spread across the internet showing shoplifters stealing items from retailers, presenting this narrative that there was a serious shoplifting issue on the rise. This prompted stores like Walgreens, Target, and CVS to begin locking up everyday products behind plexiglass cases in major cities like Los Angeles and New York, which, by the way, is a giant pain in the ass if you ever had to buy condoms from a CVS in New York City and you have to press the button and get the employee to come over and take the condoms out of the glass case for you. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. Anyways, despite all of this commotion surrounding shoplifting, if you look at actual FBI crime data, there was no significant uptick of theft in America throughout this period of time. So we literally just saw a bunch of videos of people stealing, everyone freaked out and started putting products behind plexiglass, when in reality, people weren't shoplifting all that much more to begin with. Now, while Grand Theft Auto seems to have certainly predicted a stronger sense of indifference from Americans when it comes to disturbing occurrences and serious crimes, it didn't necessarily predict an increase in those events. In fact, crime hasn't gone up all that much, we're just more immune to it. But it doesn't mean that all this is just okay. Society is built on certain unspoken rules, and the more we become comfortable with those rules dissolving, the more we collectively devolve as a race. For example, it's not against the law to bully somebody on the internet or berate the lady working the cashier at your grocery store when she won't accept your expired coupon for Brussels sprouts. But the more we accept this behavior as completely normal, we become just a little bit more uncivilized each time. And all of this relativity between Grand Theft Auto and reality calls into question what sort of satirical tone GTA 6 might bring to the table. Because when the real world starts catching up to the joke, satire kind of stops becoming satire. Even back in 2017, Matt Stone and Trey Parker lamented on how difficult writing South Park jokes had become, stating that making the show is tricky now because satire has become reality. And before Dan Houser left Rockstar Games, he alluded to this when asked about GTA 6, saying it's really unclear what we would even do with it, let alone how upset people will get with whatever we did. Some of the stuff you see today is straightforwardly beyond satire. So when GTA Online started including doomsday bunkers, flying bikes, and corporate wars between private security firms, it felt like over-the-top absurdity. But take a look at the headlines today. Billionaires building bunkers in New Zealand, private militaries being used in conflicts, and the richest people on Earth gamifying their wealth. Is it really all that different? If anything, the fact that GTA 6 is using real-world examples in its trailer, and that the main story between Lucia and Jason seems to carry some degree of gravity, the next entry in the series might take a step away from the satire and a step towards realism, because when you look at the bigger picture, they're kind of starting to become the same thing. So maybe the question isn't, did Grand Theft Auto predict American culture? Maybe it's, why did America start looking like Grand Theft Auto? Is it the media's fault, the internet, the culture itself, or is it just human nature when pushed to extremes? Whatever the answer is, it's worth remembering that next time something shocking happens and we all move on by lunchtime, maybe the most GTA thing about America is how quickly we forget. And the only really way to fight back against this is on an individual level. When somebody's making your life difficult for you out in society, maybe just, give them a break. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, maybe you don't have to take it so personally. This is something that I need to work on and stop holding resentments against all the people on the streets. Use your turn signal, and please at least go the speed limit, and I won't take it so personally. There are a lot of terrible things happening every day, but if we can actively put more kindness into the world, maybe little by little, we can make it a kinder world. And if you think I'm just being some kind of unrealistic optimist, what do we have to lose? All right, guys, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. I'm starting this Grand Theft Auto channel. I think it'd be really cool to dive into GTA and look at it from like an analytical perspective, break down the character archetypes, look at the stories and the characters and the GTA society from a sociological standpoint, from a philosophical standpoint, and compare it to our own culture, how it reflects that culture, and like if there's anything we can learn from it. So thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. Follow me on my socials, whatever floats your boat. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'm gonna try to post at least every other week, hopefully. So stay tuned for more. Catch you later.